Good evening. Please take your seat.
Thank you so much.
Shrusti. Shrusti or Shrusti? How do you pronounce your name? Shrusti. Okay. Shrusti, you are from Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. And you have graduated in the year 2020 with computer engineering from Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. And this is your which attempt at the civil services examination? Second attempt at the civil services examination. And your hobbies include Zumba dance, organic kitchen gardening, hot ash baking for cakes, practicing Vipassana meditation. Shrusti, how do you manage time for maintaining so many hobbies?
Like baking and kitchen gardening, I do it with my parents' support. My mother usually assists me in that, and I do not do all the kitchen gardening by myself. It's a major part contribution goes to my father.
Okay.
I started with him during the lockdown. So Vipassana I manage for 20 minutes every day, and Zumba I do it 4 days a week.
Okay. Okay. Have you gone through the newspapers today? What is the most important news that has attracted your notice?
So the deliberations between the Supreme Court and the Government of India regarding the same-sex marriage and its legalization.
How do you see this scenario developing?
So I believe the demand coming from the LGBTQI+ community is because under Article 21, everybody has a freedom of the choice and the liberty to live the life they want. So the demand is about legalizing their right to get married and the other rights, per se, adoption or joint accounts, etc. So I believe that India is already progressing in the direction in the sense that we have decriminalized Section 377. So there is a demand coming from the community, their rights need to be preserved. So I see in the long term, it's a good measure in the legalization of the same-sex marriage. But in the short term, since marriage is considered a sacred institution in India, there should be sufficient deliberation and discussion among all the stakeholders in the society rather than legalizing it under pressure.
See, from the constitutional viewpoint, you said that Article 21 is involved in this case. Any other article that you can think of that we can relate to this development? Okay, if I give you a hint, Article 15, now can you think anything?
Yes, sir. So it relates to right to equality only, like so against discrimination in. I'm just missing out on that.
Okay, okay. As a sociologist, if you have to prepare the society for such new developments, what 3 principles you will have in your mind? Just highlight those principles, Shrusti.
So the foremost principle is awareness and education. Telling people about why is it happening, what are the pros and cons, and understanding from them. The second is communication. Proper communication from both the sides, the government and the civil society involving the people.
Okay.
So third being stricter implementation of laws and the grievance redressal. So all the stakeholders, the community should come together and work.
Shrusti, these are more or less steps. I'm asking about principles. Like say one principle could be principle of fair treatment. Now can you think of 2 other principles?
In the similar lines, I can think of just like fair treatment, it is equality and non-discrimination
Okay.
principle. The other being, sir, wider acceptance in the society and no deprivation of any community.
Okay. Shrusti, you come from Jabalpur. Jabalpur is famous for what?
So Jabalpur is famous majorly for the white marble rocks and the Bheda Kandana Dhuadhar waterfalls.
Why that waterfall is known as Dhuadhar?
So it is situated at a height of 35 meters. The flow of the waterfall is such that the water droplets appears to be milky, the misty that is and misty that is why it is known as Dhuadhar waterfall.
Okay. What kind of rocks we have in that area apart from marble rocks?
Some majorly metamorphic rocks are there, including marble, it has varieties: white marble, soft purple marble, pink marble, and other granites and boulders.
Now that marble, it has not attained such a huge economic market share like the other marbles. Think about the marbles which is extracted from Europe, say for example. What is the reason for that?
Sir, I'm aware about the fact that the marbles that we import or use for the furnitures, the tiles, and the construction are hard marbles. These are soft marbles which are mostly used in toy making, sculpture making, but not construction works. That is the reason, that is the untapped resource.
Are you aware that Jabalpur is also known for the ordnance factories?
Yes, sir.
How many ordnance factories are located there?
The four
You name them?
gun carriage factory, vehicle construction factory, Korea and Convent, and the ordnance factory from Maria.
Okay. Now, these ordnance factories, what role do they play?
So these ordnance factory have a strategic as well as the historical importance, because Jabalpur cantonment was established during the British time, and since then they have been developing indigenous weapons that our armed forces need. So nowadays they are being used for export also, the various vehicles, tanks. So they play a very big role in production, supply, and playing in supply chain.
Shrishti, what is the difference between a district collector and a district magistrate, and who has more powers?
So, I think I have a limited knowledge of this, but a district collector has general powers also, apart from the DM, who has maintaining of law and order and revenue collection as the foremost thing. The district collector deals with other aspects also.
What is district commissioner then?
Read upon.
Okay, if you have to suggest an alternate name, these are colonial terms. If you have to suggest an alternate name, what that would be?
District supervisor.
Is the job of an IS officer the job of supervising? Or is it decision making?
So it encompasses both the supervision of the implemented policies and the decision making regarding the.
Okay, you said that you are practicing Vipassana. Now, how Vipassana is different from other forms of meditation?
So basic forms of meditation are guided and unguided meditation. Vipassana is unguided form of meditation that we do on our own, taking our breath into control and focusing totally on the self. While the other forms, such as transcendental meditation, all these come under guided meditation, where we use either the focus points or the music and the mantras. So basic difference between them is the object to be followed.
Suppose, Shrishti, you are the new district collector in the Jabalpur district, and you have to encourage school children to participate in Vipassana. What 2 steps would you adopt?
So first would be to provide this Vipassana classes or awareness about them in the school curriculum itself. But like we have PT period or sports exercise period or happiness classes. Nowadays they are being enrolled. So one would be that measure. So the second being open participations in the gardens, just like we have open gym parks. There could be organization of weekly classes in the open gardens by teachers who practice Vipassana, so that they know the importance.
Okay, have you heard about India of my dreams? So if you have to highlight India of your dreams, India of Shrishti's dreams, how that India would look like, just highlight in 2 sentences.
So India of my dreams would be a more positive, tolerant and a hopeful India, where everybody can believe in themselves and look up for their development and all possible.
Is there any limit to tolerance?
So I can understand the philosophical angle of it, that a limit to tolerance is good till the limit, it is good for everybody. Like it should not be at the cost of someone else. There should be peace of mind for everybody.
Okay, can you give an example where in one arena where we should have no tolerance?
So violence, if I can think of violence and terrorism, because the foremost thing I think is important is human life, and violence cannot be justified because of anything.
Good. Shrishti, have you heard about zero defects, zero effect? Now, if you have to add two more to this, two more zeros, what that would be?
So zero effect, zero defect, zero delays.
Go on, try one more.
Zero delays, zero losses.
What is the biggest threat to liberty?
So the biggest threat to liberty is curbing of the freedom or the liberty that we have. It's in the shadow of reasonable restrictions. We are restricting the freedom of any individual of how he or she feels.
Should we promote absolute freedom of speech in India now?
So I do not believe in promoting absolute freedom of speech because as about the tolerance thing, that everything has its limit and should be there. Because once freedom of speech could hurt other person's sentiments or other institutions' sentiments. So there should be reasonable restrictions on
Okay.
freedom.
Shrishti, what is one area in your personality where you think that you need a lot of improvement?
So physical fitness is something that I am working on, and I believe that there is a lot of improvement.
Thank you, Shrishti. Sir.
Shrusti, you've written you were recommended for the Indian Air Force from the AFSB Dehradun in 2022. What happened? And which branch were you selected for? Administrative and technical.
So both the branches
Okay. What is the meaning of the name Shrusti?
it means the universe or the nature.
Does it mean is it Srishti or Srushti? And what is the meaning of Srishti?
So it is the same thing as Shrusti only, but my parents belong to Maharashtra, so there they write V as or draw. That is why the spelling and the pronunciation.
And Shushi also means creation.
Yes.
Your date of birth is very interesting, 10th February. What is this day celebrated worldwide? Has any idea?
Sir, sir, it is celebrated as World Nutrients Day, if I can.
Have you heard of Valentine Day? Have you heard of Valentine Week? Now tell me, what is the 10th of February celebrated as? Good. Srishti, you are a BTech in as a computer engineer, right? You're a gold medalist. Then why civil services? Why not a job in the corporate world in the computer sector, which is the in thing these days?
So I came to know about civil services at a young age when I was in high school. But the clarity I got for joining the civil services was through the experiences and the learnings only I got in my college. That is, during the engineering, I got opportunities to collaborate with various NGOs at the leadership positions in cultural and technical festivals in my college. That moment I realized that civil services as a career opportunity will provide me a potential platform where I can be a part of governance, leadership at a young age, which I believe the skills that I've got in engineering, such as leadership, problem-solving approach, all these would help me in the governance aspect, as I always wanted to build my career in people-centric work. That is
Any
why-
one person who you think has inspired you to become a civil servant?
So my college mentor and professor, Mr. Vivek, he's always been that guiding light. Somewhere he gave me those pep talks that he couldn't hear civil services, and I see that in you. So he always motivated me.
Which is the cleanest city in India, Srishti? You are also you participated in the javelin throw in school. Is it school or college? Which was that? Which level?
So in the school, play Latin club once.
Okay. Can you name two athletes who have won gold medal for India in javelin throw at the Olympics?
So one is recently Mr. Neeraj Chopra, and other being Shivpal Singh Chauhan.
Has he won a gold medal?
I I think so.
No, he hasn't.
I look for other ones. I'm not able to.
Have you heard of the name of Devendra Jhajharia?
But I was not aware about that he's one.
He's not won one, he's won two gold medals. Two golds and a silver. Okay. Incidentally, you said Neeraj Chopra. Neeraj Chopra has got a unique record of being the first Indian to win a gold medal. Dash, 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 dash. What?
Athletic track and field event.
And who's the first Indian to win a medal, gold medal at the Olympics?
I have three names, I'm not sure.
Take a guess.
I think it's Parameshwar. Sorry, sir,
Okay, if I give you a hint, it's shooting. It is, yes. Okay. Have you heard the name of Anurani?
yes, sir.
Who is she?
So she is a female javelin player who participated in the Olympics 2020 from India, but she couldn't.
2020?
Yes, sir. Tokyo Olympics. She participated, but she couldn't get into the final.
What is the achievement that she holds?
So I read upon.
Okay. You're also fond of organic kitchen, you said. Okay, can you name three plants that you have grown as a hobby, as part of your organic kitchen gardening?
First is coriander leaves, second is green and red chilies, and third mandarin orange. Currently, I'm being growing.
What is hot ash baking?
So hot ash baking is a traditional baking technique in which we use dry steam generated from the ash or sand that we call. We place it under the mold and use a pressure cooker.
One very important ingredient for making cake is baking soda.
Yes.
Can you tell me what is the difference between baking soda and baking powder?
Where that in the cake we put baking powder and not soda. I'll ask my mother to answer. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Srishti.
Shrusti, what is the name of anti-radiation missile? What are the challenges of artificial intelligence in India?
So the challenges of artificial intelligence being job losses or unemployment that it will create for a short period of time in the retirement. Second being, sir, the digital divide as it is widening, so it will hamper the access of non-privileged people. Third being, sir, the privacy and the identity theft and crisis that will be generated due to artificial.
Okay. Suppose if you are a district collector somewhere and that place is afflicted with malnutrition, just give me 3 measures how you will curb that. What are the steps you are going to take?
So the 3 measures would be first from the
And through malnutrition, women are affected. So you have to take the measures keeping that in.
So implement the model at the grassroots level mostly would be to incorporate women and girls, adolescent girls, through midday meal schemes and rationalize prices of millets bars that are being produced locally. Second being, sir, um, providing MSP to millets such as ragi, kodu, ghee, etc. And so third being, sir, more deeper implementation of these schemes such as Matru Vandana Yojana, etc., which provide subsidized nutritional packages to women.
Teacher, give me three mm, programs for women targeted at rural women. Three development programs initiated by Government of India.
So one is Matru Vandana Yojana, targeting the socio-economic health of women. Second being, sir, uh, the Jal Jeevan Mission,
Okay.
because that prevents women from going long distances for water. Third being, sir, LPG, free LPG scheme through free LPG cylinder, subsidized LPG cylinders through the health schemes.
Okay. Teacher, tell me, suppose a place is affected by earthquake followed by a cyclone, then what are the three pragmatic solutions you will take as a district administrator?
To recover from these two natural disasters would be for rehabilitation of the people
Okay.
by providing medical aid to cure hunger and disease. Second being, sir, infrastructure redevelopment
Okay.
as temporary measures of rehab centers or relief and the long-term measure of permanent construction. Third being, sir, securing that place from disaster in the long term so that even earthquake, as it cannot be predicted much, but early warning systems for cyclones could be implemented so that in the future these things could be easily tackled.
What is net zero emission?
So that
Net zero emission.
net zero emission.
Yeah.
So net zero emission is production of emission of carbon dioxide as a gas, but replanting trees or taking other measures so that the amount of carbon dioxide emitted is recompensated for that.
What is Green Climate Fund?
So Green Climate Fund, so it is an environmental development fund in which fund is provided to developing and low developed countries for building the infrastructure.
Okay, thank you.
You have mentioned that marriage is a sacred institution. But now in this country, marriage is a failed institution. Do you agree?
So I would not call it as a failed institution. Rather, marriage as an institution is taking various other forms. It exists in various other forms, not the traditional marriage society we used to see in past 20 years, 25, 50 years.
What are the other forms?
So marriage is taking form of nuclear families, more which traditional society considers as
That is not a form of marriage. Nuclear family, joint family.
the walking marriages, love marriages that are taking form. So marriage in its diluted form is taking a place of live-in relationships nowadays in India. So these forms, they appear in different forms depending on the changing society, but I would say marriage is not a failed institution as remarriages rate are also increasing in India.
What is the practical difficulties one faces in a live-in relation?
So major practical difficulties would be
Two reasons. Give me two reasons. Be brief.
so non-legalization of the marriage, of the relationship will lead to not assurance of the rights, legal rights. Second being, sir, So no assurance from physical or emotional or verbal abuse, etc. Could be reported.
There is a case of domestic violence, sexual harassment of women at workplaces. Everywhere we are finding this news. Why women are accepting it?
So in certain sections of society, women are accepting because of the traditional patriarchal mindset, because they become economically dependent on the male partners or their spouses. Therefore, they see it as a part of a person doing it on them. So the other part would be they are not accepting it per se. Women are raising their voices against violence against themselves, using the legal provisions that we have in India.
How, as a SDM, suggest two innovative measures to tackle this problem? Be brief.
So one would be raising voice, encouraging women, making them aware about their rights, because I believe
Give some innovative things, out of box thinking. These
that
are
I would use technology and build a platform or an app where women can come out and speak for themselves. So the other being, women or Ladu Panchayat provision, so that women govern these matters in a better way, so that everybody can come and speak on it.
we have done a certificate course from IGNOU. IGNOU, what type of university is IGNOU?
So IGNOU is a category of MOOCs that is massive.
No, what type of university? In which category? It is an open university.
Open.
What is the difference between an open university and a deemed university?
Exact differences.
What are the various dance forms in Madhya Pradesh?
So the various dance forms exist: Matki, Dholida, Gadgu Punjabi of the Bhoti tribes, and the very normal is the Bundelkhandi dance form that exists.
What is the role of a SP and a collector?
So the role of SP would be specific to maintaining law and order, investigating crime, etc. So of an IS would be implementing policies existing, implementing government policies, supervision and monitoring of those policies, and suggesting new and innovative measures in the area.
Both SP and collector are working at the district level. Do you think that SP should work for 1 year as a DM and DM should work for 1 year as an SP? Do you agree with this viewpoint of the government now?
Any role requires
So tell me, be very specific, give a categorical reply.
my personal opinion, I do not think this is a wise strategy, because any role requires time for mastering that. So if somebody understands deeply IS role and somebody understands deeply the SP role, they won't be so much good when they come to that position. I think that it is not a viable option, in my opinion.
Do you support women's reservation in legislature?
Yes, sir. Because women in India, they need role models to come up to those positions. Until the time we do not provide reservations, proxy voting, etc., would be so much in around us that they won't be able to come forward.
Suppose you have to choose between a literate, 100% literate lawmaker and an uneducated, illiterate women in the house, legislator. Whom will you support?
So I would support the first candidate.
Why don't you support? You have told that you support women reservation. Now you are changing your stand.
So women reservation comes with not only a gender perspective, but also the qualifications that are needed for a position. Women reservation come from the perspective that women, on the basis of gender only, shouldn't be discriminated against. So if it is a woman but not educated or literate for that position, then it is not justified to give her that position. there should be equal upskilling for that.
What is progressive legislation? Thank you.
Shrusti, just a couple of questions. After that, we'll wrap up this interaction. As a woman, have you ever faced patriarchy?
Yes, sir. So in not in the latent terms, but in a subtle manner, like uh, during nights when we travel, for example, going to the airport or something like that. So people consider that as a weaker sex and offer you like we'll drop you, how you go alone, or in terms of while traveling in a bus, okay, you might need a seat, will you sit, but I think it is more or less existing in subtle forms nowadays. So that's it.
Well, these things could also be considered as parts of gentleman behavior.
So it depends on circumstances in which they are created. Because if 5 women and 5 men are standing, so they have an equal vouch for sitting. But just because out of that could be understanding case to case basis. So that is what I believe. In what context one has mentioned that.
What is the major problem with the feminist sociological interpretation of the society?
So the major problem is that they see every action against women out of the patriarchal mindset. Many actions, they require a liberal stand. They require males to do, they require females to do. But seeing everything from a gender biased perspective is something I believe that they narrow the lenses of sociology.
Thank you, Shrusti. Your interview is over. We will reconnect with you in some time for a feedback.
इनको भेज दे दो.
Please take your seat.
Thank you.
Shrusti, before we begin this feedback session, let us understand the purpose behind conduction of personality test. See, aspirants call it interview, but it is in no way exchange of views. This is a personality test. UPSC calls it personality test. It means the idea is to evaluate what kind of a person you are. In short, you can say that what are the values that an individual, what are the virtues present in that person's character? Is that person a decision maker? Is the person capable of taking strong decisions, right decisions, especially under stress kind of situation? Is that person a problem solver? Can the person engage with multiple stakeholders and incorporate the views of everyone while coming to a conclusion? Does the person suffer from any kind of prejudice, stereotype, or say biases? What kind of an approach the person possesses? Is it a liberal approach, an inclusive approach, a broad outlook? Or the person has some sort of regional bias, communal bias, caste bias, etc. How much you respect the constitution, rule of law, foundational values of civil services, etc. In total, you can say the idea is to ascertain that when this person will be trained and this person will be made a part of the civil services, this person would turn out to be an asset for the administration or will turn out to be a liability for the administration. Or you can say whether this person will further the case of social justice or this person will become an impediment in the path of development. Got it, dear? So that is the objective that you must have in your head while you walk into that hall. See, every question that is asked to you, that is thrown at you, is thrown with the intention to uncover one or more facets of your personality, so as to understand that whether you will make a good officer in future. Got it? So it is not the test of your knowledge. Your knowledge has already been tested. You have done well. That's why you have got this interview call. So let me now start with the good things first. Your entry was very confident. You maintained a smile throughout the course of the interaction, which was very good because it adds to the cheerful environment in the room. Your communication skills are very good. You organize your points very well. You were very polite, very decent. You thanked whenever a new information was supplied to you. When you were not aware about something, you said that I'm not aware, I'll go back and read about it. These things are very good to take note of. Some of your answers were excellent. But Shrusti, I am no longer interested in talking about those things which are good, because what is good will remain good. Let me highlight those areas where I think you need improvement, dear. Got it? The first thing is, Sometimes I felt you are not listening to the question properly. Take time while you process the content of the question. And if you require that time, ask for permission. See, that civil servant will always be preferred over the other civil servants who does some investment in thinking. Do you understand that? So that's why just say, sir, can I have few moments to think about it? And once you gather your thoughts, then you start answering. Sometimes I felt that you were not listening to the question. You were speaking and simultaneously thinking. That's why you were short on content and many times you had to back out. So do not do that, right? Then some of your answers were terribly long. You need to cut short the length of your answers. See, Shrusti, it would be a 30-35 minute affair. And if you give very long answers, the number of questions that could be asked to you would be less. So the sample size will be drastically diminished. So we are in the world of big data, you are providing small data. Then you can understand that evaluation will be on the basis of the answers that you have given. The sample size would be less. So more of it would be a guesswork. If you have a greater pool of data at your hand, then you will be in a better position to evaluate and process that. So try to cut short the length of your answers. Eye contact. There are two parts of eye contact, dear. One is when the question is asked, second is when you are answering. When the question is being asked, look only towards that person who is asking you the question. Do not lose your attention from that person. If you see elsewhere, this shows that you are not showing either respect or you're not interested in the question, or you are distracted by some other thing. So look only towards that person, soft glance, right? And then when you are answering, you start answering by looking at the person and end the answer by looking at the person, but in between you try to look towards other people as well, other members of the board. This shows that you can engage with multiple stakeholders. Say 60 to 75% of the time should be dedicated to the person who has asked you the question. The rest of the time should be distributed among other members. Got it? And when you are trying to highlight an important point, use some voice modulation. If you want to hammer on certain important aspect, like say for example, when I asked you a question, these questions are full tosses. Like, as a woman, have you ever faced patriarchy? The answer was not good. The answer was like, if I ask anybody on the road, will answer more or less the same thing. Then how are you different from the crowd? Your answer should be more organized. Then I had to ask a supplementary. And suppose I never asked that supplementary, I just thought that, see, opening the door, pulling the chair, these are part of gentleman behavior also. So if somebody does not do that, you will say that person is not gentleman. Are you understanding? So it's a double whammy. So you must highlight that what you are actually trying to say. I understood what you meant, but I deliberately asked you the second time so that you get the opportunity to clarify your stand. Right? Shrusti, also I felt that sometimes you were looking at other locations in the room. I mean, your eyes were rolling all over the room. This shows lack of confidence. Or you are searching for words. That's what one problematic thing. Then again, I saw you hanging your head down. This shows lack of confidence again. When you are in the process of thinking, the right way is to lowering your gaze. Got it? Do not hang your head low. That shows lack of confidence. Just lowering of the gaze would be sufficient. Got it? Sir will add few points to this. After that, you can ask your questions, then I'll declare your score. So,
Shrusti, I would want to ask you two questions before I say something. This is your second attempt, first interview? What are your 10th and 11th choices in your order of preference of services?
I don't remember it precisely. And look into my order of preference.
Because I missed this. Now, what I see is 11th choice is Danex and 12th choice is Daneps, which are Group B jobs, which are much higher than other Group A jobs also. You'll have to have a good answer for that also. Right? Okay. Now, coming down to whatever has been said, apart from what has been said, you were looking around all right. That was actually not right. Eye contact definitely needs improvement. When you start answering the question, you cannot look at somebody else and start answering the question. So just now, as was pointed out, starting and ending has to be with the person who's asked the question, right? So at times I noticed when you started the answering, you were not looking at the person who's asked you the question, right? There is a little scope of improvement there. Now, when you're thinking, you were looking down. Now, apart from that, when you entered, you wished everybody individually, not all. If there are 10 people, will you wish everybody 10 times? Morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Will you do that? So, remember, it has to be a collective wish and not individually wishing everybody. Right? I also noticed that you were playing with your fingers. Now, when you play with your fingers? When you are nervous, anxiousness gets over you. Now, for that reason, never hold your fingers loosely together. Hold them tight if required. Now, in this case, you will not move around. You will not do this, isn't it? But if you hold them loosely, there's possibility of doing this. That shows that you are nervous. So avoid doing that. And whenever somebody some new information is given, thank the person. And one thing I liked was a couple of answers wherein you could not answer. You ended with a smile. Now that actually makes the environment a little more friendly. It's good. Now the difference between baking powder and baking soda. Yeah. Now, these are small things because, when you say hot ash baking, now baking is cannot be done without baking soda or baking powder, right? And you said we use baking powder. Now, baking powder, baking soda is nothing else but sodium bicarbonate, which requires acid and water to activate. Whereas baking powder is also sodium bicarbonate plus acid. It requires only water to activate. That is the basic difference. A little bit of knowledge here and there would do a lot of good to you. Now, even in terms of the javelin throw, you knew about Neeraj Chopra, whereas Devendra Jhajaria, as I said, he's got 2 gold medals. He's participated in the which Olympics? Paralympics. Can you relate now? Whereas, yeah, so because he's got 2 gold medals and 1 silver, and that makes him probably one of the most decorated athlete in India ever. No person has got 3 medals, 2 golds and a silver in Olympics. Now it's not Olympics per se, but it is equivalent of Olympics. Paralympics is Olympics. So a little information about that. And Anu Rani, you remember that she participated in the Tokyo Olympics, but you forgot that in 2019 World Athletics Championships, she was the first Indian to reach the finals in javelin throw. Right? So a little bit of more study about this also, because the questions that are going to emanate are 90% going to be emanating from your tap only. So brushing up the knowledge will definitely do a lot of good to you. Right? Overall, I think you have most of the boxes ticked. Small few points here and there will definitely help you improve your score to a level wherein you can be sure of getting selected. All the best, Shrusti.
Shrusti, wait.
One second.
Wait.
Shrusti,
You don't want the
due
score,
to, due to paucity of time, also I think I could not ask much about this thing. But if I may now, in your order of cadre preferences, why have you kept the northeastern cadre, the eastern northeastern cadre as your last choice? Zone 4 is your fifth choice. Why?
So, because two reasons. So personally, I've been visiting. I have visited western side of India, or I'm from central India. Currently in northern India. In southern India, also I've spent few months as a tourist and as my cousins reside there. But I haven't visited northeast till now. And I've heard about the culture is a little different from central India per se. So that is why. And the second being, sir, while filling the cadres, I asked few officers who were already there. So they suggested me that keep it as the last.
Have you ever been to Uruguay? Uruguay? No. What about Luxembourg? You get? Can you catch the drift?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So that if I become an IFS and get posted there, what will I
And
do?
why is it the fifth choice? Now you see the problem with your answer. So the first point is negative. Second, when you will become an IS officer, will you send your files to your senior officers for decision making?
No, sir.
Now do you see how the merit loses here? So what can be a better answer? Now think.
Of that, it is not like that I don't want to go to the northeast, but because it was the order of preferences that was being asked, I preferred other four over northeast. And
See.
Don't say that.
Very lengthy
Just say that UPSC gave me an opportunity to fill my preferences. This is one of my preferences, sir, not the only preference.
okay, right, sir.
Having said that, I'm more than willing to serve in any state, in any capacity whatsoever, in whatever role the government deems me fit.
Yes, sir.
Finish off the argument. Why are you dragging it? By throwing unnecessary arguments. Are you catching the drift,
Yes,
Shrusti?
sir.
Now, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Sir, I've got all the feedbacks possible.
Okay, so based on today's performance, we have awarded you 175. But I think you are a 190 plus candidate. And if you do not score anything beyond 190, you will not be doing justice to your talent. So we have a strong hunch that you are making it this year. The second attempt could be very well be your last attempt. And when I say last attempt, it means that you are getting your preferred choice of service so that you do not have to reappear for rank improvement. So keep these little things in mind, dear. When is your interview?
So 10th of April.
10th of April. So you have got some time at your hand. So as sir pointed out, the basics are very well covered, like communication skills, organization of arguments, then comprehensive thinking, politeness in speech. All those things are well covered. Smile. In total, you look very good for the services. But these kind of arguments, like suppose you say that I have never visited Northeast, and suppose the people who are sitting in Nagaland cadre, Manipur cadre, Meghalaya cadre, IFS officer. अब बताओ क्या होगा सृष्टि फिर समझ रहे हो?
So that answer I gave was a real one.
Yes.
I didn't realize that I don't have. I mean, I didn't know that you were asking it from the interview perspective. So I just spoke my whatever I thought, but I'll keep this in mind, sir.
The same thing has to do with respect to service choices. If they say why IFS is fifth choice, what is your answer? I'm asking it from the interview perspective.
So since I was given the choice of making preferences, I kept IS, IPS because I have more inclination towards it. But IFS is also I'm ready to serve in whichever services I get. But it was only the matter of preference. That is why I kept it at fifth position after the four services.
Highlights few good things about IFS and then say, sir, I would be more than willing to serve in IFS. That's why I have kept it at very high preference.
Right. Right.
मतलब वो लो बता रहे हैं आप हाई बता दो
Okay, sir.
ठीक है
I get
क्योंकि you never know the person who is asking the question is an IFS officer हो सकता है ना
You consulted your seniors by filling this again.
No, sir,
IFS,
the
IS.
preferences is totally based
now
on
these seniors are those people who were aspirants few years back and now they have got selected, they are the seniors.
Who are the seniors?
yes, sir. The people whom I have contacted, or my college seniors who are now into IAS or IPS, or I am joined by a Jito community group in Delhi. So people from there I took help while.
Preferably don't mention that, because in that case, since you are adult, you have to take your own decision.
You have to take your own decision.
Don't mention that you have
Consulted
Yes,
any of the
sir.
That is up to
seniors,
you. Okay, you have filled up. Don't mention.
because you will not send your files to your seniors.
Because
Yes.
one thing is free
Oh.
in this country, advice
Advice.
comes without a price.
Price.
Okay, Shrusti, all the very best.
Thank you.
All the best, Shrusti.
Thank you.